Welcome to MindSpeak, the place where you learn and improve your English through inspiring stories of the most influential people in history. I'm Tony, your storyteller today. Imagine this. You are locked in a small prison cell. No freedom, no family, no hope. 27 years pass. That's almost 3 decades. Most people would break. Most people would give up. But one man didn't. His name? Nelson Mandela. Today, you will learn how one man's unbroken spirit changed an entire nation. You'll discover the power of forgiveness, courage, and hope. By the end of this video, you'll see challenges differently. You'll find strength you didn't know you had. If you skip this story, you'll miss one of the most powerful lessons in human history. A lesson about never giving up. A lesson about fighting for what's right, no matter the cost. So are you ready? If yes, comment number 1 right now. Let's begin this incredible journey together. Nelson Mandela was born on July 18, 1918. He was born in a small village called Mvizo in South Africa. His birth name was Ralila. In his language, it means troublemaker. Pause. Maybe that name was a sign of his future. Nelson grew up in a beautiful land. Green hills, wide skies. But his country had a big problem. It was called apartheid. What is apartheid? It's a system where people are separated by skin color. White people had all the power. Black people had almost nothing. They couldn't vote. They couldn't go to good schools. They couldn't even sit on the same bench as white people. Nelson's father was a chief, but he lost his position when Nelson was young. The family became poor. Life was hard. When Nelson was 9 years old, his father died. Pause. This changed everything. A kind man adopted Nelson. His name was John Jintaba. He was a king of the Thembu people. Nelson went to live in the royal household. There, Nelson saw something important. He saw leaders talking. He saw them listening to everyone. He saw them making fair decisions. This taught Nelson about justice and equality. Nelson was a good student. He loved learning. He loved reading. He wanted to help his people. He dreamed of becoming a lawyer. He wanted to fight for justice. But what Nelson didn't know was his dream would cost him 27 years of his life. His fight for freedom would take everything from him. His family, his youth, his freedom. But it would also make him a hero the whole world would remember. Nelson moved to Johannesburg, the big city. He wanted to study law. He wanted to help his people. But life in the city was different. He saw apartheid everywhere. Black people suffered every day. They had no rights, no voice, no hope. Nelson became angry. But he didn't want violence. He wanted change through peace. In 1944, Nelson joined the African National Congress. People called it the ANC. This group fought against apartheid. They wanted equality. They wanted freedom for all. Nelson organized protests, peaceful marches, sit-ins. He believed in nonviolence. He believed words were stronger than weapons. But the government didn't listen. Pause. Instead, they became more cruel. In 1960, something terrible happened. Police shot and killed 69 peaceful protesters in Sharpeville. They were unarmed. They were just marching. Nelson realized something. Peaceful protests weren't enough. The government only understood force. This was the hardest decision of his life. Should he continue peaceful protests? Or should he fight back? Take a moment. Comment your biggest fear right now. What stops you from fighting for your dreams? Nelson made his choice. He started a military group. They didn't target people. They attacked government buildings, empty buildings. No one would die. But in 1962, the police arrested Nelson. Pause. They charged him with sabotage and conspiracy. The trial lasted months. Nelson knew what was coming. He could get the death penalty. On April 20th, 1964, Nelson stood in court. He gave a powerful speech. He said, "I have fought against white domination. I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society. It is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." The room went silent. The judge gave his sentence. Not death, but life in prison. Nelson was 46 years old. Little did he know he would spend the next 27 years locked away from the world, away from his wife, away from his children, away from his freedom. But this prison would not break him. Instead, it would make him stronger than ever. Drop a fire emoji if you're inspired so far. Nelson arrived at Robben Island, a prison on a small island near Cape Town. Cold, isolated, surrounded by ocean. His cell was tiny, only 2 meters by 2 meters. A thin mat on the floor, one blanket, a bucket for a toilet, no bed, no comfort. Every day, Nelson woke up at 5:30 in the morning. He worked in a limestone quarry, breaking rocks under the hot sun. The white dust hurt his eyes. The work destroyed his body. The guards treated prisoners terribly. They gave them little food, dirty water, no books, no newspapers. They wanted to break their spirits. But Nelson refused a break. He studied. He read everything he could find. He learned Afrikaans, the language of his oppressors. Why? Because he wanted to understand them. He believed in talking, not hating. Nelson wrote letters, hundreds of letters, to his wife Winnie, to his children, to his friends. Many letters never reached them. The prison blocked them. He missed everything: his daughter's wedding, his mother's funeral, his son's death. Pause. Can you imagine that pain? Years passed. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. The world didn't forget Nelson. People protested everywhere. In America, in Europe, in Asia, they demanded free Nelson Mandela. Musicians wrote songs about him. Leaders spoke his name. Students marched for him. Inside prison, Nelson became stronger. He inspired other prisoners. He taught them. He gave them hope. The guards tried to punish him, but they couldn't touch his spirit. In 1982, after 18 years on Robben Island, they moved Nelson to another prison, then another. The conditions improved slightly, but he was still locked away. Nelson never stopped fighting, but now he fought with something more powerful than weapons. He fought with forgiveness. He talked to prison guards. He treated them with respect. He showed them that hate solves nothing. By 1989, the world was changing. Apartheid was failing. The economy suffered. Countries stopped trading with South Africa. The pressure was too much. The new president, F.W. de Klerk, made a decision. He would free Nelson Mandela. On February 11th, 1990, the prison gates opened. Nelson walked out. He was 71 years old. He had spent 27 years, 6 months, and 6 days in prison. The world watched. Millions of people. Cameras everywhere. Nelson raised his fist. He smiled. After 27 years, he was free, but his work wasn't finished. Now the real battle began. The battle to unite a broken nation. Nelson didn't seek revenge. He didn't hate white people. He forgave his oppressors. He met with de Klerk. They worked together. In 1993, Nelson and de Klerk won the Nobel Peace Prize. Together. Then, in 1994, something incredible happened. South Africa held its first democratic election. Black people could vote, for the first time in history. And who did they choose? Nelson Mandela. At 75 years old, Nelson became the first black president of South Africa. He didn't rule with anger. He ruled with love. He created the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, a place where people could confess their crimes, where victims could forgive, where healing could begin. Nelson served one term as president. He didn't want power. He wanted peace. After leaving office, he continued his work. He fought AIDS. He promoted education. He inspired millions around the world. Nelson Mandela died on December 5, 2013. He was 95 years old, but his legacy lives forever. So what can we learn from Nelson Mandela's life? Pause. What lessons can change our lives today? First lesson, never give up on your dreams, no matter how long it takes. Nelson spent 27 years in prison. Most people would quit. Most people would lose hope. But not Nelson. He kept fighting. He kept believing. He never stopped dreaming of a free South Africa. Your dream might take years. It might be hard. People might say no. But if you believe in it, keep going. Time doesn't matter. What matters is that you never stop. Second lesson, forgiveness is stronger than revenge. Nelson had every reason to hate. The government took his freedom. They took his family. They took 27 years of his life. But when he walked out of prison, he chose forgiveness, not revenge. He said, "Resentment is like drinking poison and hoping it will kill your enemies." Think about that. When you hold anger in your heart, you only hurt yourself. Forgiveness sets you free. It heals you. It makes you stronger. Third lesson, education is the most powerful weapon. Even in prison, Nelson never stopped learning. He read books. He studied. He taught other prisoners. He knew that knowledge gives power. Knowledge creates change. If you want to change your life, start learning. Read every day. Study new things. Improve yourself. Education opens doors that no one can close. Fourth lesson, treat everyone with respect, even your enemies. Nelson learned the language of his oppressors. He talked to prison guards. He listened to them. He saw them as human beings, not monsters. When he became president, he didn't punish white people. He worked with them. He united everyone. This teaches us something important. Hate divides. Respect unites. If you want to create change, start with respect. Fifth lesson, your circumstances don't define you. Your choices do. Nelson was born poor. He faced racism every day. He spent 27 years in a tiny cell. But he didn't let these things define him. He chose courage. He chose hope. He chose to fight for what was right. You might face difficulties right now. Maybe you don't have money. Maybe people don't believe in you. Maybe life seems unfair. But remember, you have a choice. You can give up or you can keep fighting. You can complain or you can take action. Your past doesn't determine your future. Your choices do. Nelson Mandela showed us that one person can change the world. You don't need to be rich. You don't need to be famous. You just need courage. You need determination. You need to believe in something bigger than yourself. Nelson's story teaches us the most important lesson of all. Freedom is not just about breaking chains. True freedom comes from within. It's about freeing your mind from fear, from hate, from doubt. When you free your mind, nothing can stop you. Not prison walls, not poverty, not failure, nothing. So here we are, at the end of Nelson Mandela's incredible story. A man who spent 27 years in prison. A man who lost almost everything. But a man who never lost hope. A man who changed the world. Now, I have a question for you. What will you do with this story? Will you forget it tomorrow? Or will you let it change you? Nelson's story isn't just history. It's a message for you. Right now, today, maybe you're facing a difficult time. Maybe you feel stuck. Maybe you want to give up. But remember Nelson. Remember his 27 years. Remember his strength. Remember his forgiveness. If he could survive 27 years in prison and still smile, still forgive, still fight for his dream, then you can overcome your challenges too. You are stronger than you think. You have more power than you know. Don't let fear stop you. Don't let failure define you. Keep going. Keep believing. Keep fighting for your dreams. If this story inspired you, do me a favor. Hit that like button right now. It helps us share more inspiring stories with people who need them. Subscribe to MindSpeak. Turn on notifications. Because every week, we bring you stories like this. Stories of people who change the world. Stories that will change your life. Share this video with someone who needs hope today. Your friend, your family member, someone who's struggling. Send them this message. Tell them they're not alone. Tell them they can overcome anything. Comment below and tell me, what is one lesson from Nelson Mandela that you will apply to your life? I read every comment. I want to hear from you. Remember, at MindSpeak, we don't just tell stories. We change lives. We build a community of dreamers, of fighters, of people who refuse to give up. And you're part of that community now. Before I go, I want to leave you with 3 powerful quotes from Nelson Mandela himself. These words changed millions of lives. Let them change yours too. 3 CAU trick Dan CUA Nelson Mandela. It always seems impossible until it's done. Your dream might look impossible right now, but keep working. One day, you'll look back and say, I did it. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Everyone fails. Everyone falls. But winners get back up. Always. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Never stop learning. Never stop growing. Knowledge is your superpower. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of MindSpeak. Remember, you have greatness inside you. Now go out there and show the world. I'm Tony, and I'll see you in the next inspiring story. Keep fighting. Keep believing. Keep growing. Goodbye for now.